Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing an unboxing on Old Town's latest kayak to the Sportsman lineup. What we have in front of us is the ePDL Plus 120 Pro, and it's been completely revamped. Before I even get into this, I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for constantly coming back and watching my videos. Because of that amazing support, I get to take advantage of gifts such as this. So full disclosure, I did not pay for this with my own money. Old Town sent it to the channel, and in return, I just basically show y'all what it's capable of. I'm gonna put it through its paces like every other kayak that I have received from them. But yeah, just briefly touching over wanting to be as transparent as I possibly can. So yeah, what we have in front of us again is their newest offering to the Sportsman lineup, and I'm going to just read directly off of my notes. The hull shape, it's still the same as its predecessor, with exception to the cockpit, the tank well, and up here at the bow. How they did that, not too sure, but they still kept the same weight. So the length, 12 foot long, it's 125 pounds. The width is 36 inches, and yeah, it's almost exactly the same as its predecessor. So its capacity, it can hold 374 pounds, the total capacity with you and your gear, or you and it fully rigged, is 500 pounds. So those are briefly the stats on this thing, and I don't really want to speak too fast. I'm going to just go over it, and we'll talk about the differences that I remember from the older model on this particular kayak. Of course, this is one of the biggest differences right here. That's the ePDL drive right there. Essentially, if you're not familiar with Old Town's lineup on these kayaks right here, it's a an e-bike. That's the best thing that I can reference it to. I do have another kayak in the ePDL drive that uses the ePDL drive. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this on really quick in order to kind of fix it up. Put this on the kayak. There we are. Okay, so that's the star of the show for the kayak, but not far behind are all the upgrades that Old Town has added to the platform. And this essentially has 5 speed levels. So what you can do is you turn the power on, and you hit the plus button to increase your speed, you hit the minus button to go down in speed, and then this right here is a cruise control button that's going to allow you to stop pedaling, and the motor will basically kick in and pedal for you. So amazing on very long treks when you have to go 2+ miles to get to the fishing grounds from the boat ramp. That's truly gonna help you out. And right inside here, just like the other ePDL on the big water, you got some storage. This little compartment right here helps to float the entire PDL drive. That's everything about this one right here. It's powered by a 36 amp hour or 36 volt 20 amp hour battery, and I've never ran my other battery out on the big water, so the 36 volt is very powerful. You're gonna place that inside here. That's on there tight, but this is where you place your battery, and then you just plug it into, they've got it pre-wired right inside here. Their hulls are really watertight. I've rarely ever taken on any water unless it's because it comes through the rudder cables. But that's where your battery is going to go, and that's more than likely enough power, enough juice to power the kayak all day long. on average, my trips last approximately 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours, and during that time frame, the average mileage that I'm traveling with my kayaks are anywhere from 8 to 12 miles. Now, the first 2 to possibly 4 miles, I'm pushing this at full speed. That's to include the Autopilot 120 and the Big Water 132, which is a mirror image as far as the propulsion system of this kayak right here. They both utilize the same battery, so that's going to be a plus. So we'll have 2 batteries. I can truly push this at top speed all day, and then just take the other battery that I have for the other kayak and use that as the backup if I do run out of power. So we'll see just how far this will get me at top speed. So I look forward to being able to do that test. But yeah, let's continue going along through all the other features. We've got just a standard seat, and let's see, does this have it does not have a pocket. So the Big Water does have a pocket. Their configuration for the seat, it's different. So you got these tracks. It's almost like a sled, and just right here, just like the older kayak, that's what's going to receive the bar on your seat. So just put that inside there. I don't know if it snaps in. Yes, it does. So there it is. It snaps in, and then it's got these little grooves right over here to receive the back of the seat, and there you go. You're locked in. Down here, you've got these. This is a lot better than the seating on the Big Water, if you ask me, and the other kayaks that do not utilize this sled system, because it was always a pain when it comes time to like readjusting. You had to do everything all at the same time, and then like scooch forward or backwards, and then there's like these spring-loaded pins that would basically lock the kayak at certain positions. And the reason why you're going to want to do that is just basically because if you got short legs, or I mean if you're a short person, then you need to scoot closer towards those pedals to have a comfortable pedal whenever you're trying to propel this kayak. And you're constantly moving it back and forth. And for someone like me, I always stake out my kayak whenever I'm in the marsh. We're in something that's like 12 inches of water or possibly less, depending on the tide. And so you're going to want to stake out to hold your position and fish really quick, and then pull the stake out pole out, and then start push poling yourself throughout the shallow waters that I fish. But in order to do so, it looks like these are going to be the ones that I'm going to utilize most of the time, because I don't know. I mean, I might be able to use this. Who knows? We'll find out. But anyhow, going back to the seat, having a sled to be able to just move forward and backwards, that's pretty cool. I don't know how hard it is to pull the entire seat out, which, okay, let's see. Try not to lose any of these pieces. I'm going to just completely pull this thing out. All right. So this is what you end up with. So just be careful that you don't lose your washers. I don't know if this is required, but it seems like this is the fastest way to take this seat off. All right, let's put this back here. Lift straight up, and then there you go. There's your seat and the sled that I was basically talking about. Probably use it as a beach chair too. All right, so how hard would it have been? I could probably just slide it out just like that, go backwards with it. But this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to check this out right here. How much space do I have if I were to slide that seat, throw it back here, and go without a crate? So if I didn't take a crate with me to hold my rods, then the reason why I would forego that is because you got 4 rod holders up here at the front, And normally that's what I'm going to take with me, is just 4 rods in total. And I got 2 bait casters, 2 spinning rods, 7-foot length, and hopefully we can take advantage of that. Ditch the crate, only bring the 3 tackle trays that I normally fish with, and just throw that back here. But what I want to do is just basically throw the seat back here, put a small little Yeti ice chest of some sort up here, and stand on top of that. Like, figure out how to rig it to where maybe I can put a tie down point on these gear tracks back here, and then one up here, basically on each side, and then tether down the ice chest, or possibly even through these gear tracks right here. But tether down an ice chest, stand on top of it, buy a bigger push pole if I need to, and then I would truly have a poling platform. Because normally what I do is I stand on top of these seats, and I mean, they're built pretty strong. I've never ripped one. My Autopilot seat was hanging in there. It was a trooper. You did stretch some of the chair fibers that's holding everything together, but it never gave way. None of them ever busted. I just put it through its paces because I would stand on top of this to get an additional 9 to 10, maybe 11 inches at most of height and visibility out there on those shallow flats. And so if an ice chest is going to be a lot higher, then I would probably be able to take advantage of an actual poling platform, casting platform, and have better visibility out there. So that's the thought. Hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of that. Go ahead and put these back on. So that's the chair right there. The chairs are very comfortable, and I have put, again, very long hours out there on the water in these kayaks, and I've never had any issues whatsoever. Okay, so let's continue talking about all the differences that we've got in both of in this kayak compared to its predecessor. You've got a motor mount up here at the bow. You've got through hole, like a pre-drilled hole for your wiring. Now, I don't know that, because there's so many different types of brands of trolling motors that you can buy, if that's what you would like to do. That's for the prop, I've been told. I've seen a few videos on this kayak already. There's quite a few people that have purchased them. So yeah, it's just a nice little plug, but it's good to know that it's there, and you can just throw your wiring through here and then run it to the rear of the kayak. So you got that through hole wiring right there. The handle has been moved towards the back. That might be a nuisance later on. I've never been a fan of their handle being up here because they're in a fixed position. So the pro to that is it's never going to break. You're just not going to break one of these handles. They are solid. The con to it is that your wrist is in a fixed position when carrying it. So picking it up, not being able to like move your wrist in any direction that's comfortable to you, and being that it's further back from the bow, the hull, the frame of the kayak is going to be jabbing you in the leg somewhere. It's just being nitpicky, but yeah, it's just something to be mindful of. You can see the wiring right here. There's also a through-hole plug for your transducer. Their mounts are located directly below the motor, and so Old Town's their sister company is Humminbird, and so if you were to use a Humminbird fish finder, it's going to fit perfectly down here where the transducer mount is located at, and it makes it really easy to wire your fish finder. And so the handle doubles as a gear track. So if you have any kind of device that you want to place up here, then you can do that. The shape of the hatch it seems a little bit bigger than The other one, you have a lot more space to work with, and then you've got your rod tubes that go from the cockpit over there. How far? They almost go all the way to the bow. And so there's some reinforced plastic underneath all of these screws right here, where I'm pretty sure they're brass. Let's see. Yeah, they look like they're brass. But these are reinforced with some plastic, so that's a good thing. Another thing about Old Town and their kayaks, a lot of people complain that they're too heavy, but the trade-off to that is you can have a very lightweight kayak, but then all the oyster rash, when you're at a concrete boat ramp, these things are going to constantly take abuse on the bottom side. Most kayak companies will do their best in ensuring that the hull is beefed up in places where it needs it, but the rigidity of the kayak itself, the flexing and everything else, thin kayaks just they seem cheaply made, and I don't think that they're going to last long. I get away with being able to stake my kayak out in very shallow water through the scupper holes because of the thickness on their plastic. And I actually applaud Old Town for making sure that the hull is going to last you a lifetime. And it's one of the main reasons why they give you a lifetime warranty on their hulls if you take care of it within reason and it's not neglect on your part. Again, on the flip side, you just get one heck of a kayak that's built like a tank. And I've tortured my first Autopilot that Old Town sent to me, because it's the one that I truly kept, because it allowed me to fish in a way that no other kayak allowed me to fish. So I put it through its paces. I believe it lasted close to 5 years. 4 years, 4 or 5, somewhere around there. I've got a video on it, and if I will link it in the video description down below if you're interested in seeing that video. But yeah, I beat it up. I did not hold any punches, and that kayak took some crazy abuse until it finally gave way and rubbed a hole on the keel of the kayak. And yeah, but amazing kayaks. Okay, let's continue on. This is how you basically lock your kayak in, and you got one of those on each side. We've already talked briefly about the rod holders. That's something that you would find on one of the Hobie kayaks, and it seems like with the reshape of the cockpit that now they're able to fit that in there. Another thing that I'm noticing is right here inside the cockpit, that's for your fish finder. Let me get my notes really quick. So 36-inch aluminum tracks. And yeah, I like these a lot better than those plastic ones. It also doubles as a handle, so it's not padded, but it does have a piece of plastic that's contoured for the hand right up underneath. And you've got that on both sides. You still have 2 pockets right here, so that's pretty nice. And it looks like they've got a groove cut out, so if you wanted to put maybe a very thin water bottle, you could probably get away with doing that. So here goes the kill switch on your left hand side, versus usually you would find them over here on the right hand side. Here goes the other kill switch. They work through magnets, so without doing that, you're not going to get without putting the drive all the way down, you're not going to get it to turn on. And then without putting the little key that clips to your vest, again, you won't get the kayak to turn on. A quick pro tip for these battery operated kayaks: make sure all your wiring is connected before putting either one of these kill switches to use. So you don't want the motor to be down, or the ePDL drive to be down, and then you also do not want the key to the kill switch to be plugged in, and then you connect your battery to the wiring, because you're gonna hear one heck of a pop, and you'll see some sparks. So yeah, just connect everything first and then plug your switch in. You've got some deck padding right here. I probably could do without that, because if I stood up, my feet aren't going to be directly behind the motor. So just looking at that, yeah, this is going to be the natural position of my feet. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to take some getting used to, because if you have soft bottom shoes, I can feel the grooves. And when you're doing this hours, you know, on the day, then that could be, it could fatigue the bottoms of your feet. So we'll see how that pans out whenever we start going out there on the water. You've got a rod holder over here on the right hand side. Here's your rudder control. What I would really love to see Old Town do is give people like me the option to put a rudder kit, like mount something so that you can put your, like a footrest right here. It's so work with me. The Autopilot 120, that's a perfect example, and it is the perfect platform compared to everything else that's out there. If I had a rudder control kit right here, I could essentially drop this motor down and set it to troll at about speed level 2, which is pretty reasonable. You can go to speed level 1 possibly, but at the levels 2 and 1, it's a nice trolling speed, and I could fish hands-free the way I do in the Autopilot. The motor will take care of you, and you're just going to troll all day. You don't even have to take your hands off of your rod to manipulate your rudder. And so not having a foot-controlled rudder option means that ever so often I'm going to have to do corrections because of the wind or current, whatever the case may be. I will ever so often have to take my hands off of fishing. It would be nice to have that. Maybe, you know, if I do fall in love with the kayak and I decide to keep it in the fleet, then maybe there'll be a way to like rig something like that. But as it stands right now, it doesn't look like that's even going to be possible. But Old Town, if you're listening and you're watching the video, that's just something to possibly consider. And I know, like, we think we have the perfect plans for your kayaks, and your engineers don't know what they're doing. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just something that if you do want to troll and optimize your kayak for being able to do that hands-free, that's one way to go about it. That would be really nice. But yeah, moving on with the kayak, your rudder up and down. The tank well is a little bit bigger than the other kayak. But yeah, we got 4 scupper holes back here. You've got, looks like some anchor points for wiring. And this is new. Hull access to work at the rear. You've got a wiring port right there. Also 2 30-inch or 36-inch aluminum gear tracks back here as well. This is a lot better because just by looking at it, they're flush. And the older kayaks, to include my Autopilot, they're made out of plastic and they're at an angle. So when you put a light, instead of it going straight up, your light or whatever else you're going to be using, they're kind of angled inwards. So I didn't like that about that particular one, but it's good to see that they remedied that issue with this kayak. Now I'm looking forward to an updated Autopilot and see what we can get on something like that. I do believe it's ready for an update. The rudder, I've never been a fan. The Autopilot does have an amazing one, even though the length may be comparable to this one. where it makes up for the style of rudder. And you know what? Come to think of it, that's probably what I'm going to ask Old Town. Can I put an Autopilot rudder on this? I mean, it seems like I could. It's the very same rudder system. So if we can get away with throwing the bigger, wider rudder, so you got this, but imagine a rudder that's about this wide right there. And what that's going to allow you to do is be able to truly make some leeway on turning, because this little thin one, even though it goes down very deep, it doesn't help your turning radius. When you're at a dead stop, you got to start pedaling to even be able to start turning. So the kayak has to be in motion for the rudder to truly start working. And it makes a big difference whenever you have a wider rudder. Not wider in a sense that the blade needs to be thicker, wider, the width of it basically. That does truly make a difference. But I've just never been a fan of this style of rudder. Hopefully we can get away with what I just said. But yeah, let's see, what else is there? 2 rod holders, rear facing. You've got your seat clamp right there, the strap that clamps down to basically, if you were to fall out of the kayak or flip it for some reason, this is going to keep your seat from just falling out. And you always want to make sure that you buckle that down. But yeah, going back to flipping any of Old Town's kayaks, they are super stable. And the whole shape of this kayak, it's shared with, again, the predecessor, the older model PDL 120, and also the Autopilot. It's a magnificent platform. It's by far the most buoyant kayak that does not plow through the mud whenever I'm out there push-pulling through the marsh. I'm able to go through water that's like maybe 4 inches in depth and just touch that soft layer of mud and be able to just push myself through. You can achieve that with this kayak, and it's, again, one of the main reasons why I absolutely love the style of this hull. I hope they never get rid of it. It's a proven performer, and it can hold its own weight against some of the best kayaks that are out there. And now that we've got that ePDL drive, it's going to just be, yeah, it's going to be a joy to fish out of this. I can already tell, because for one, again, the main thing is the hull shape and being able to scoot across through very shallow water. This kayak's going to allow you to do it. But that's pretty much it, y'all. With exception to the very end of the kayak, we have 2, whether you're going to put like a motor back here or a shallow water anchor, you have 2 spots now to do that. If you were to throw a Minn Kota up here that has spot lock and the iPilot, then that would essentially turn this into darn near an Autopilot kayak. But yeah, that's the Old Town Sportsman ePDL Plus 120 Pro. That is a really darn good looking kayak, and I'm looking forward to getting it out there on the water. If y'all have any questions and I didn't touch on something that you do want to know about, then drop a comment down below, and I will do my best to answer what it is that I may not have covered. But what I'm going to do before we actually end the video, quickly show y'all. Yeah, this looks exactly like my Autopilot kayak. And when I talked about a kayak being a plow, well, you have a pontoon on this side and then a pontoon over here. Let's quickly take off the hat and then put it down here to kind of show y'all what it looks like. So here's a sacrificial plate to protect the kayak down there, and then you have your transducer mount, which will run through here, and then go right through there. That scupper hole is going to allow you to run your wiring through. But when I showed y'all the two pontoons in the shape of the kayak, none of this is the lowest point on the hull, so mud does not get stuck through any of this. If you're gonna bottom out in mud, this is what's gonna hit it right through here, and you're gonna know, because you're not gonna be able to move as easy anymore. On the big water, the ePDL big water kayak, the lowest portion on that fella is this, the very middle of it. And so when I start hitting mud, it essentially, I'm plowing through the backwaters and that soft mud, and it all starts kicking up through the bottom. And so yeah, this kayak is just, these two pontoons on each side, it works wonders whenever you're out there. Another sacrificial plate right through here, which I need to buy some for my Autopilot, because I've already worn those fellas out. And before too long, what happened to my first Autopilot, the free one that I received from Old Town, will happen to the one that I decided to purchase, because I love that kayak so much that I decided to spend my own hard-earned cash to make sure that I have another one. All right, that is going to do it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and if you're anxious to see what this kayak is going to be able to do, then consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. I will fish from this for a good several months before I make a decision on, is it for me? Is it able to tackle inshore waters that are very shallow? And if it is, well, then you'll constantly see it in the videos in the future. One thing that I'm very anxious to see is how fast will this ePDL Plus drive push the kayak. As it stands, the big water ePDL is the fastest kayak that I have in my fleet right now. And if this one can achieve the same type of speeds, then you may start seeing less of my Autopilot kayak, because I'm able to get to some of the furthest reaches in the marsh a lot faster, and everything is just about time. That's the one thing that you can never get back in life. And so when you waste a lot of time trying to get there because your kayak motor just pushes your kayak too slow against very strong tidal currents, then it makes you start rethinking your platform. You know, is it worth the time wasted in order to just stick with a certain kayak? But yeah, we'll see what that's gonna be like. Again, anything that I didn't cover, if you're curious, just drop a comment down below. I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability, and I will start letting y'all know things as I experience different things out there, different situations on the water. But the one thing I always steer clear of is just trying to make premature assumptions about the kayak, or speak prematurely based off of encountering a certain situation only once, and therefore making it like, okay, if it happened once, then that's the way it's always going to happen. I don't like eating my words. I'm in it for the long haul, and usually it takes about 5+ months to figure out if a kayak is truly worth its weight on the Upper Texas Gulf Coast. And yeah, let's end this one. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click that thumbs up button. I will link all the information for you to be able to click on down in my video description. It'll take you to Old Town's website, and you can read about this kayak in further detail and see if it's going to be something for you. But all signs are pointing to this thing being a beast on the water, and I definitely am looking forward to using it. Until next time, tight lines, everyone.